Champions, it's Dizzle here. So I'm back doing commentary videos of my solo GM runs. So in this one, we have the Corrupted. I was using the Shadebinder build with Bleak Watchers and Ice Flare Bolts. The build is on screen now. Vergloss Curve is amazing with this build. And then we just have Grenade Kickstart, just to take advantage of any armor charge we might get. Just to reduce our cooldown even further on our Bleak Watchers. So if you didn't know, slow works on overload champions, so you will be able to see it right here. There, it should slow it. And then I have an overload rocket launcher with bipod. I go with bipod on this run for the boss room, specifically the final phase of the boss, because it just takes out the adds very quickly. And it's nice that it has deeper ammo reserves. I'm not so concerned about high damage. I'm concerned about quickly taking out those captains at the end. So yeah, this build has been really good this season, and I love running it when Stasis Surge is up. I kind of wish Stasis Surge was up every week and that they rotated between Strand and Solar. Because obviously Solar is the best thing that you could use. But it is really fun just getting to use something else. Hopefully the Hail the Storm artifact perk that causes more damage from your stasis shatter kind of just becomes the default for stasis, because I've soloed a GM with stasis in the past and I've had so many video ideas that I haven't got to make. So that was one video. I wanted to make a video called The Problem with Stasis and just kind of talk about it, but that video is definitely irrelevant this season for sure, because stasis is actually good. So right there, I killed too many adds, which is gonna spawn a second wave of adds. Ideally, I would have just blinded them with my blinding GL and taken out the one hobgoblin quickly, and then you can dip out and not even spawn these other adds, and it won't spawn the second overload. So yeah, you can be out of this area in like a minute and a half, but I killed too many enemies, so we're just going to go ahead and take out the overloads quickly. So overload rocket launcher actually does like excess damage to overload champions. I don't know if you knew that. You can see it. It's really apparent in Birthplace of the Vile, because your rocket can kill an overload in 2 rockets, where when you do it on an unstoppable, the unstoppable will only be finishable. So the bipod rocket also works really well here on those overload hobgoblins. But anyways, thanks to stasis, it was able to kind of keep everything frozen and keep the overloads from regenning. So we just take them out, and now we're on to the elevator section. So the elevator, it's way easier than it was in the past. You used to need so many balls to take out the shields, because you're supposed to pass it to a teammate, but obviously when you're solo you can't do that. So yeah, Corrupted is far easier than it used to be, and I mean, yeah, that's just an objective truth. And then we also have solo operative on this season, so yeah, you can take out all these adds with, or sorry, the shields with just 2 orbs. So here I lay down a Bleak Watcher first, and then you just want to get the adds down as quickly as possible. Ideally, like 1 will get frozen, and then you'll get that shatter damage and the damage from Ice Flare Bolts. And yeah, you can just take them out really quickly. You need to get all the Scions down because they do multiply, and then they just become a massive headache. So here we just want to take out the shields, and then here I kind of mess up a little bit. I missed my shot, but anyway, yeah, we just take out the shields, take out the phalanxes. Yeah, I didn't even play this one very well on this run. Like, I could have died there to the Seeker Orb thing. But yeah, so you want to deal with these little guys first, and then, and again, take out all the Scions first, which Stasis does a really good job of, especially because of Ice Flare Bolts. Like I said, it will travel and freeze the scions, and then when you kill one, hail the storm. And I also have Whisper of Fissures on, so I have a bigger ice explosion, and my explosion's doing more damage. So we throw the Bleak Watcher out because, again, we're getting shatter damage every time we shatter that boss, and then Verglass Curve also does more damage to shielded enemies, and I have Whisper of Rending on, which allows your primary weapon to deal even more damage to frozen enemies. I believe it's like 50% more damage. So yeah, Verglass Curve, you can see like my crits now are 6482, where before they were double that. They were like 13,000. So it's well worth using your Bleak Watcher for the added damage, not just for the shatter, but also because of Whisper of Rending. So as soon as you take him out, more ads are going to spawn. And here's where we just want to use our super, freeze up some, and then this gives us the Ice Flare bolts. And then I'm not even tossing out my whatever, like that, the ice throw. I'm literally just doing the shatter thing, because the Ice Flare bolts will go to the other scions, and then you can just do that. It's a great strategy for extending your your super duration. So I popped a couple of rockets into that first one, so I'm going to make a video on like how to survive in endgame content, but the biggest thing that you need to know is ad priority. So right now we have 3 ads on the field. That is a danger. So that is why there I miss a friggin' orb, which is super annoying. But that is why you want to dump some heavy onto these enemies, because when there's 3 on the field, they're a big problem. And there you can see the blinding grenades working really well. This is the Truth Teller grenade launcher. It's from way back in the day. So there, I use disorienting grenades on it, so then he's not shooting at me. I pump 2 rockets and then do a finisher on him. And then same with this guy, just get him down quickly. The reason I'm killing him is because instead of finishing him, you get super energy, but I also have heavy ammo finder on. So the more enemies you kill with your primary, especially an exotic primary, increases your chances for a heavy drop, and I only have 2 rockets. So if you can, like, sometimes it's just best to do a finisher and get the ad off the field, but if you can, it's good to kill them with your primary weapon. So now we have 1 enemy on the field, and it's a lot easier to deal with. I threw down a Bleak Watcher, and there again, 13,854 when he's frozen, plus the shatter damage, so it actually deals with those guys very quickly. So that wasn't... So I ran this run a few times, and I had much better elevator encounters. Like I said, the first part with the couple of phalanxes, it wasn't that smooth. But we got through it, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So there... Oh, that's another thing I should talk about. So you see those crystals from Verglass Curve? When I shatter them, I'm getting improved ability regen. You can see I have a... Well, it just went up to 10 seconds. It was 6 seconds. So every time I break a crystal, you get about like 5 seconds, and that drastically reduces your grenade cooldown. I can't remember the name of that fragment, but it's what makes this build so strong this season, because when you kill frozen enemies, they drop a stasis crystal now. So in the future, this will still be really good because of the Verglass Curve crystals, but this season specifically, I can't remember, it's not Hail the Storm, it's the other one. It's really good this season because you make so many crystals, so that drastically reduces the cooldown of your grenade, just allowing you to spawn more and more Bleak Watchers. Like you can see, I have 1.5 up already, and again, because I'm low on rockets, I'm just going to plink away. So not only does slowing overloads disrupt them, shattering the ice on unstoppables will stun them. So obviously I have unstoppable bow, but that is just another way. So you can like just chuck your melee out and freeze them, and when you break the freeze, it will stun them. So that Shrieker, I was trying to get him to shoot me back there because there's a specific spot you can stand where he's not reaching you anymore, and then you can just plink away without his void orbs hitting you. But he was being weird. But what you can do is this little Bleak Watcher strat. So again, we're getting the shatter damage. It's freezing him from shooting, keeping the crit open, and giving us the double damage with Whisper of Rending and Vergloss Curve. So yeah, super easy way to take out the Shrieker. So the thing with Stasis, especially this season, because it actually has good ad clear potential due to like the Crystal Shatter damage and all that. So there, I didn't have to cock the bow extra long to get the Unstoppable. I literally just shattered the crystal and it killed him. So yeah, you can use your melee to do that. You can do a quick Cold Snap Grenade rather than the Bleak Watcher to do that. And you can use, well, your super as well, and the Vergloss Curve Crystal Shot. So lots and lots of ways to make, to freeze enemies with this build. So here again, the Bleak Watcher is just doing all the work. So again, Solar, if you're going for speedruns and stuff, Solar is going to be the way to go. Like Celestial Nighthawk on this Wizard boss can do a crap ton of damage. But Stasis is a really safe and effective way at dealing with ads in high-end content. So its weakness before was that it had very terrible ad clear, and because of power creep, we've been able to just like get so strong. It's like, why would I slow enemies and basically like just keep them from attacking me when I can just throw on Sunbracers or Controverse Hold Warlock and just melt the enemies and kill them, rather than just dispatching them and freezing them and slowing them and just making them basically unable to do damage to you. And in the past, that was a good question. But now that Stasis actually has some ad clear potential, especially with Vergloss Curve, so here is a good example. So I have Reconstruction and Bipod, and Bipod actually allows you to shoot your rockets faster. So in one stun, I can get 4 rockets off, and then he's pretty much finishable. So yeah, Bipod is honestly really good. Like the bait and switch Apex Predator is amazing. Reconstruction and Explosive Light's also amazing, especially with teammates if you're all making orbs. But yeah, don't sleep on Bipod. It's actually really good. But yeah, so I was saying now Stasis actually has some good like ad clear potential, where before it could kind of just slow but not do group ad clear. But now with between Hail the Storm and then Whisper of whatever one makes your shatters deal greater area of effect damage, yeah, you can actually take out ads very well. In like if they're grouped up, the shatter damage will like take them all out. So yeah, Stasis is definitely more viable, and they said they're buffing it further in the final shape. So I've really enjoyed playing. I've mostly played Stasis Warlock. I have messed around a little bit on Stasis Titan, and then Stasis Hunter I haven't really used much at all. But I would like to try the arms that make your Duskfield grenades better. I think that would go super hard on Birthplace of the Vile, because Duskfield grenades have a super low cooldown, and then those ads spawn in, and you can see where they're spawning in, so you could just throw a Duskfield down and just basically neutralize them before they can even get going. So yeah, that would be one place where Stasis Hunter would be really good. And the Duskfields on Stasis spawn that crystal in the middle, so you could shoot that and get that improved ability regen as well. So anyway, you saw me use the strats with the Bleak Watcher on the Shriekers and just how it deals more damage. So here, ideally, you want to just take out that Ogre really quickly, but you don't always know where he's spawning. So there I take a little too much damage. I got a little aggressive trying to get my Bleak Watcher out. But what that'll allow is, so he actually pushed up. So ideally I would have killed him right there, because when you get transported back, he could be on top of you. But like I said, we do have lots of ways to freeze him. But by getting that Bleak Watcher out in the last room, now it's dealing shatter damage to that boss while I'm over here. So that's one really nice thing. So yeah, I just ran out of rockets there on that Ogre, unfortunately. So he is still up, so we have to be careful. The Knights don't usually push up quite that aggressively. Like this is usually a fine place to sit. But they were a little aggro here, so I'm just going to pop a super. Unfortunately, I'm going to get cast away before I can get a finisher off on that Ogre, but it's okay. And then there, just trying to deal with some more ads. So blinding grenades are really nice. You can see they don't blind champions, but that's alright. They blind all the other ads, which allows me to put in some quick damage on the champion. Now here, I'm just getting back down because I know this unstoppable ogre, unfortunately, is roaming around somewhere here. And the ads do kind of, like, they can be unpredictable over here. They can sometimes, like, sneak up on you, so I'm not sure where he is. So I'm just kind of using my headphones to listen for where it might be. And then here again, I'm in just a terrible spot. Yeah, so I'm just gonna back up. So again, this was not the cleanest run I've ever had by any means, and a big reason for that is I was just like low on rockets, so I can't like burst down these unstoppables that are like pushing on me, but also my positioning like could have been better. So there I had one Verglas curve shot. I'm able to take him out, and for some reason my ice flare bolt didn't really go to that knight after I shattered it on the ogre. But yeah, this is literally just go back and forth here. Again, probably not in the best spot. Yep. So the Bleak Watcher kind of saved me there. I wouldn't have died necessarily, but again, I was just not in a good position. I don't like always going to the bottom of the stairs though, because, so like one reason I am playing up here instead of going back down to the stairs like I would with other builds is because I have stasis. So like I said, it's great for neutralizing enemies. So when I come over, it's like, oh, I can just throw a melee on this unstoppable if he pushes me. So you have a lot of get out of jail free cards with stasis because it just buys you time. If you saw my run on Birthplace of the Vile, it's the same thing. It really allows you to control a room before ads kind of like get out of control. So my shots also are just terrible on that GL. Don't really know what I'm doing. They have void shields, which is why I went with a disorienting grenade GL with void, just to deal with all the void shields in this nightfall. And there you can see it's really nice on these major knights. They're tanky. And then yeah, ice flare bolts will sometimes just go back to the same target if there's no other targets around, so that's really nice. So finally I get some heavy. So this artifact this season is crazy, and it's by far the best season to get into like solo dungeons, solo GM, stuff like that. But the one thing it is missing from like the last time that we had solo operative, you also had Lucent Finisher, so you had a guaranteed way to get heavy, where this season we don't have a guaranteed way to get heavy, which isn't the end of the world, but yeah, it just would be nice. I'm not complaining about the artifact. Like, this is the most busted artifact we've had, at least since the artifact changes, where they're always applied and they don't go onto your armor. But yeah, this artifact's crazy. But yeah, it is nice to not have to rely on RNG for your ammo. That is one thing, but it is what it is. So now we're getting most of the enemies down. So what you want to do with these ogres is you want to kill the taken one last, because in this room, so the hive room, you want to kill this guy first, and then you can stay in the taken realm, and you will have shriekers to get away from when you go to the portal. But when you take that portal, when you come back, all the ads, like you saw some acolytes and knights and stuff down there, all those ads will despawn when you transport back. Where if you kill the taken one first, and then you you go to that hive room, you're stuck in that hive room, so you're gonna have to kill all those acolytes and all that stuff. So it's a bit of a time saver. So here I'm in my super, so I'm not really worried about being caught out of position. That was quite a good super. This super needs some help. I know Ballador's Wrathweavers does help it. It does like double damage, but you lose the utility of the double Bleak Watchers, which is what this build's all about. But you could basically do what I'm doing with Ballador's. You'd just have less Bleak Watchers. But so one thing again that I do is when I'm casting my super, I let the ice flare bolts do the work, and then I just keep hitting that shatter wave just to blow up the ice that's on any enemies. So there, again, was caught out of position. Like I said, this was not the best run, but it is what it is. So there's not a whole bunch of enemies up, so I just want to get a Bleak Watcher out there to deal some damage over time while I'm in this realm. See, you can see it ticking, or maybe that was this one ticking, I'm not sure, but it should be doing damage to that Hive Ogre. So now we're finally gonna get this Unstoppable dealt with. So that is all the champions. So now we should get platinum. There is one overload that likes to kill himself by jumping off the rock on the way to the boss room. But as long as you kill all the other champions, then that shouldn't be an issue. So now we use our bipod rocket, take out that guy, and now we don't have to worry about getting transported back and forth. So we get in the corner, we have 4 Hail Barrage in case anything's on top of us, and now I'm going to throw down a Bleak Watcher to do more damage over time, and now it's just a matter of melting down this ogre. So I missed 2 rockets, unfortunately, because, yeah, he just started boogieing over. And I miss another. Yeah, God, this is just an ugly ass run. I'm sorry. But that's what happens sometimes. No one's perfect. We all have off days and shitty runs. Like, I've had some runs that are so much cleaner and then I die on the boss. In this one in particular, actually, I'll get to the strategy that I changed on the boss when we get there. But I died at the final phase of the boss twice. And both those runs were cleaner leading up to the boss. But this one is the one that gets to go on YouTube because it's the one where I actually killed the boss. And again, that was due to a strategy change, which also comes down to like surviving in high-end content. I talked about add priority, but it's also there's some other strategy I'll get to when we get there. But anyways, disorienting grenades deal with those shriekers very, very easily. So you just shoot a couple of them and they stop shooting. The one thing is they do close up, so if you're trying to do DPS on the Shrieker and actually kill it, do not use your disorienting grenades because they will close up. So now we've got 2 unstoppables here, and then there's 2 overloads later, and like a boss type enemy, which I can't remember if I kill, but in my other runs, when I did kill it, at least twice it dropped a full heavy brick for me. So it often is worth killing enemies that you don't necessarily have to kill just for that increased chance of an ammo drop. So here I'm waiting till he's like frozen, shatter it, and now he's stunned again. And again, I'm out of rockets. So all that really does is it just prolongs the nightfall. It doesn't make it that much harder, especially on unstops. You can just sit back, bait them, like they're quite easy to deal with. So it just means I have to stun them more and more. That is one thing though, right there. You can't shoot them in the shield with an unstoppable arrow. Their shield is immune. Same to like super damage, everything. So you have to land your shot where it takes damage to get the stun from unstoppable bow. So here, I just throw down a rift just in case. And then I'm just like, okay, this is getting annoying because I don't have heavy ammo. So let's pop a super, try to deal some more damage. So unfortunately, he wasn't stunned. Now he is. So see there again, I'm talking about I just do the wave blast and let the ice flare bolts do the trick. So it got me like at least 1 extra shatter just by doing that. And then again, I throw down a Bleak Watcher because yes, it can freeze, but it's going to give me that extra damage from the shatters and from Whisper of Rending. So it'll just help me deal some damage. So I know Bleak Watcher, it's more a utility grenade. Well, I know it's an aspect, not an actual grenade. But anyways, where something like Sun Bracers, those grenades just, you can use them. You obviously use them for damage. That's the way you use a Bleak Watcher for damage, is have Whisper of Rending on and then the shatter damage. So again, I talked about I have heavy ammo finder on, so right there it spawned a brick because I'm taking out so many trash ads with my exotic primary, and like I mentioned, exotic primaries have an even higher chance to drop heavy ammo finder bricks as you get kills. It's kind of like a bar that fills up. Like the more and more you get, So there, unfortunately, I didn't hit my I didn't hit that ad, so it didn't break its shield. So then I wasn't able to take it out with my bow, and then that guy, yeah, he runs to cover, so it's quite annoying. So that is one thing with the Bleak Watchers. You can see those shots are landing, but it's actually hitting the friggin' Bleak Watcher in front of it. So that is one kind of annoying thing. They actually have a large hitbox. Like, even when you think you're not hitting it, it'll still hit. Especially because it's arrows, too. They're not hit scan, they're like a projectile. So there, I actually hit with the grenade, broke its void shield, and almost there. Now we're able to get it. But again, the Bleak Watcher is just keeping all those enemies down there, just like at bay. Not that I've gone down far enough to like bait them to come up here, but I just know that I can like focus on those guys on the sides with the void shields, because my Bleak Watcher has my back and it's just going to keep everything contained. Like I said, that is the bonus of stasis. I thought he was closer to dying, so I wasn't going to stun him, but then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he's got a ways. But yeah, stasis is just so good. And like I said, it shines in Birthplace of the Vile a lot, because that boss room is so tight and it just controls everything. Like, you can see that guy, he's trying to push up on me, can't because he's getting slowed. Like, yeah, I've been really impressed with stasis this season. Like I said, I ran it in the past and I was super not impressed, and now it's like, yeah, if I took this into a day one raid, depending on the type of encounter, not like a, well, again, just depending on the type of encounter, it could really hold down certain zones and just allow you to deal with enemies very, very, very well, especially Warlock. Like I said, I haven't played too much with Hunter and Titan, but I've been really impressed with Stasis Warlock this season. So once all those things are dead, sorry, just grabbing a drink, now we can go to the Hobgoblins. I know I have heavy ammo. I think there was 2 bricks that spawned back there, but yeah, so we're just gonna get a stun with our Bleak Watcher. The reason I want to do that is because every time you break that, every time you shatter the freeze from your Bleak Watcher, it reapplies slow. So like when you freeze an enemy, once that's broken, all the slow stacks are removed. That's important on overloads because slowing is what actually stuns them. So again, this is just a little way to conserve 2 rockets rather than like pumping them down. Just do 2 shots, and then so yeah, so do 2 shots, and then you can just use the slow effect to keep it overloaded, so keep it from regenning health. So here, I don't have to kill this guy. I'm actually like wasting rocket ammo, but I know I had a Hobgoblin spawn a full heavy brick, which is 5 drops. I do believe I have Solar Scavenger on. So yeah, that's super important to know. Like, again, I did get caught with my pants down a few times not having ammo, but that was just kind of not getting drops when I needed them. But when you do have drops on the ground, know how much ammo you pick up per finder brick and per regular brick. So I have 7 here, and I know I can hold 12, and I know I have a regular brick, so boom. I had picked up 5 in the past from a brick. That one was 4. So I did waste 1 rocket that I didn't need to waste on that Hobgoblin. I should have used like the freeze and Verglass Curve at 8 instead of 7. But even still, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. Bipod is kind of weird, but when it's like a regular rocket, a regular brick with a Solar Scavenger on like Bait and Switch Apex Predator is going to be 3 rockets. And a finder brick is going to be 2 every time. Where bipod, like I said, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5 for whatever reason. But anyway, our ammo situation's still looking really good. And with all the ads that spawn in the first phase of the boss, you're pretty much always rolling out with full ammo because of the strategy that I employ on the first phase of the boss. So here is that Hobgoblin that likes to just like fall to his death. So that's why I wanted to get some type of shot on him before, because if he falls and you've done damage to him, then then it will count. Like if he fell off right now, it'll say that I killed an Overload Hobgoblin. Where if he falls off without me doing any damage to him, you don't get credit for that champion. So that's why I just chuck a Bleak Watcher out there. Plus it's nice for those other ads. So here's a problem. I am too late. Yeah. And there he jumps off. And see, Overload taken, Hobgoblin defeated. So yeah, my Bleak Watcher despawned a little bit before I was ready and before he was ready to die, and then I was late getting my rocket because I knew he was going to move, and then he was able to regen his health. But luckily he fell off. What I would have done again is just throw out another Bleak Watcher. So like the Bleak Watcher, if you're only dealing with an Overload, will last long enough to primary it down. But I had to take out those other taken acolytes, and then that caused me to be late dealing damage to the Overload, and that is why my Bleak Watcher despawned before he was dead. So anyways, again, the Void Grenade Launcher is really nice for those shields, and we took out those guys with no problem. Now you chuck out a couple Bleak Watchers, and you can be way more aggressive here, especially like in team play. I would recommend at least one person, if they have an ad clear super like mine, just go down there. Like I just threw out those two Bleak Watchers. If I was in a team, I'd be down there just casting my super right now. But like I said, sometimes you have to play a little slower and a little safer. This is far from a speed run. So I just stay up here and primary everything down. Ice Flare Bolts does an amazing job of like trailing between each enemy. The Hail Barrage there, yeah, sometimes it does that AoE and actually knocks enemies off. Again, I show that off really well in my Birthplace of the Vile run, which I will do a commentary for, so subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Little plug. But anyway, yeah, so I just sit up here and I primary everything down, but I don't need my super anytime soon. So like I said, in a team setting, just use your super here. It's going to go way, way, way quicker. But I'm just being safe. I've got Hail Barrage stacked up. Boom. So right there, I'm back to Hail Barrage times 5. If the crystals come from your Hail Barrage itself, and you get kills with those crystals, then it just basically recharges the Hail Barrage. So it makes Verglas Curve like an ad clear machine, and you'll really see that at the boss here. So again, as soon as he's frozen, you want to shatter it, because then you could see, boom, right there, it was overloaded again thanks to the slow. Where if you leave it frozen too long, it's not getting slowed because it's frozen, so it can't like apply more slow because it's frozen, and then it will regen its health. So that is what you have to know with that. So there, my crystal came up just a little bit short. So again, I talk about ad priority. You always want to prioritize those Vandals. They put up their immunity bubble, which is extremely annoying. And then also they snipe you, where Overload Hobgoblins are, like, honestly, they're definitely the easiest Overload to deal with, by far. Because there I got lucky, gotta use the rocket, and it dropped ammo. And then, yeah, there I shoot off another one because I had another ammo brick. Some people think if you leave ammo bricks on the ground, then you won't get ammo bricks later. I don't know how true that is, but that is why I did that there. Oh yeah, so Overload Hobgoblins, as long as you're shooting them with an Overload weapon, because they have their Retaliation Swarm, but as long as they're getting slowed or whatever, being shot with something that overloads them, they're not really a threat at all. As you can see there, I was literally just like facing up with it. That Retaliation Swarm will mess you up if you don't have cover, especially because it tracks. So here, I go to the left because I know the boss is on my right, so I have cover. And then I'm just waiting for that first enemy to get frozen, and then you can just see it's a chain reaction. Like, once you kill one frozen enemy, it's kind of like exploding, it's Ice Flare bolting to all the other enemies. So yeah, like, that's really quick ad clear. I know a lot of people use Polaris Lance, especially this season, with Solar being so good. But, yeah, like, that's pretty much just as good as Ignitions, all those stasis freezes. So here, I don't want to waste my Hail Barrage, so I'm just using my Disorienting Blow grenade launcher to keep them disoriented, because they can shoot you from there even though you're back on that rock. And you did see I got a Joining Allies there for a minute. If you go like too far back, there's a spot where that happens, but for the most part you're fine on that rock. And like I said, just sit on either side of the rock. So there, the boss, sorry, just sit on either side of the rock depending on what side the boss is on. So where I was running behind that, like coming around up to the relic, there's Taken. You can't really see it, but there's that miasma on the floor and you take damage from it. And then the boss was shooting at me, but the reason it didn't shoot me is because I was in a sprint. That is how you deal with this boss, is don't stand in one place, like at all. So there, I throw my Hail Barrage out just for more AoE damage once they move up there. But yeah, as long as you're sprinting, so yeah, boom. I could have put it a little closer to the edge because they kind of got slowed, so my placement wasn't the best, but the strategy was there. And like I said, sometimes those Hail Barrage explosions can actually knock them off, but you can see it's dealing like good damage. But yeah, you basically just have to keep moving and sprinting to avoid the arc attack from this boss. So I know I have a knight up, but here I just want to get some damage in because pretty much all the enemies that are out there aren't threatening anymore. So there you can see my crits are doing way more damage now that I threw out that Bleak Watcher, literally double the damage. So that just helps our DPS, obviously. Unfortunately, I didn't get an Ice Flare Bolt on that knight. They're quite tanky. And yeah, his fire will mess you up sometimes. So now the boss is moving. So that's why I rotated back around on the other side of the rock to deal with that knight, because you always want to have cover, obviously. I'm not sure if that Arc Blast can outright kill you anymore. It used to be able to. Like I said, this used to be like the hardest Nightfall back in the day. The boss's boop was extremely strong. Like if you got booped, you like weren't coming back unless you had like a Sentinel Shield Super or something that you can like shield swing to get yourself back up there. So there I was just a little slow, took pretty much a direct hit, and that's the damage it does. It does do AoE, so you can see I'm getting AoE damage hitting me. So I'm just gonna recover. My recovery unfortunately is only like 50 on this build. I did get another pair of Osmiomancies, so I do want to rework my build for more recovery. But yeah, either way, if you're hurt, just take cover. And I was trying to stand where I knew the AoE wouldn't get me. And then speaking of AoE, again, this used to be what the problem with stasis was. Even though all those enemies would have been slowed, I'd have pretty much haven't been taking them out one at a time with a bow. Where now, I had like insane ad clear with the shatters and everything. Like you can see it. The ad clear is tremendous now, with this build in particular. I'm not saying all stasis builds are like this good, but yeah, no, the ad clear is really, really strong, and there you could see it. So at this point, there, a knight got frozen, fell to its death. So at this point, we just need to take out the rest of the ads. There's not a great place to use a super. Again, in a team, yes, I could throw down 2 Bleak Watchers like when all those ads are jumping over and I know they're gonna get frozen, and then I could pop my super and then yeah, pretty much take out the entire wave. But solo, I'm playing more slowly and carefully, so we're just gonna use our Bleak Watchers. Here I finally do pop a super just because I know there's not many left. So once all these ads are dealt with, then I'm going to go get the final orb. I think this is the last one. And then we shoot the boss again, and then there's going to be one more ad wave. So in teams, after this break is when you want to basically deal a ton of damage to the boss so that you don't have to deal with this ad wave and you can transport really quickly. Celestial Nighthawk Hunter could also do the same. If you had a Celestial like ready to go right now, you pop that and then you just one bang the boss and you're out of here. But this build doesn't have any like quick high damage, so on the second relic is why I retreated. And there you can see the ad spawn, and then we're just gonna do what we've been doing. Throw a couple some of these ads are getting hit by the rocks and stuff. Throw a couple Bleak Watchers, shoot the first frozen guy we see to spread the ice fire bolts, and then shoot crystals for that big Whisper of Fissures and Hail to Storm damage. And yeah, just like that, you can see again we deal with the ads really quickly. The Hail Barrage spreads out quite significantly at a distance. So there the boss just spawned to my right, which is why I'm kind of backing up and shifting, because if I stayed standing there, it would definitely hit me head on. But yeah, I would like to use a Hail Barrage on all those ads, but it doesn't travel nicely at a distance. So here I'm taking a risk by shooting a couple rockets. Yeah, there one misses. I'm trying to wait till it like gets frozen. So yeah, completely whiffed 2 rockets. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll just have to bow her down. The one thing with this boss is it does not actually have a lot of health. Like you can see just my primary chunking it, you can actually see it making like a difference on the health bar. Now right there, as soon as it hits that health gate, you'll get adjoining allies on that rock. So be ready for that. I was, so as soon as I saw that I hit the damage threshold, I'm gone, I'm off that rock. So now we're gonna chuck a Bleak Watcher up there. Ideally, you can take out that knight first and the subsequent ads. The shatter damage hit the overload, and that is why I got that retaliation swarm there. So not ideal, but it's gonna happen if you are using something with AoE damage. But again, a bow is just super nice here. You can just sit back, be extremely safe. And then, yeah, so there I have another retaliation swarm coming at me. So I'm just gonna chill. I've got a Bleak Watcher ready to go. And then we're just gonna take this Hobgoblin out. So, like I said, this is not a speed run. I'm doing everything safely and carefully. Like, I could just use 3 bipod rockets, or 2 really, because it's on an overload. And see there, that Bleak Watcher's almost in the way. But yeah, it's like, no, I will just save my ammo, because you do want it for the ad waves on the final boss. That final phase is the most dangerous part of this Nightfall, I would say. And like I said, when we get there, I'll talk about what I changed to get it clear after dying twice. And yeah, and I'll kind of point out how I died and why my decision wasn't the best, and then when I changed it, it was. So once that knight is dead, the boss will move. So you kind of want to just focus that knight. Unfortunately, he's in a really tough spot with a rock in the way, which happens. You just got to be patient. But the Bleak Watcher does do damage over time and causes shatters, and those shatters deal decent damage. So so like even if it's behind cover, you can still deal with the knight. There I screw up. I'm just getting impatient, because I am an impatient person, but like I said, when you die at the boss twice, you get sick of wasting like 45 minutes of your life getting there. So you're gonna take it a little slower. Like, yes, I have 2 Bleak Watchers up and ready to go. I should have just thrown another Bleak Watcher here, because it would have been damaging him, and yeah, he'd have been dead quicker. Instead, I wasted a rocket, pissing around, used my Hail Barrage. But yeah, also another thing to note there is watch out for the rocks. I know I hit one with a rocket, but when you're jumping, there again, yeah, God, I had some bad gameplay in this one, like genuinely. But I was probably fatigued from running it a few times and dying on boss, and yeah, so your decision making is not always the best, but that's how you get better. And that is also why I like to make these videos, is to say what I would have done differently, because as cheesy as it sounds, you learn more from your mistakes than you do from doing stuff right. Like me dying on the boss, Now I will tell you exactly what to do to not die on the boss, or at least give yourself the best chance of survival, because that shit sticks with you. Like at my job, I would train people by pretty much just telling them whatever area I was training them in. I would say, this is what I screwed up. This is what I did wrong. Like, learn from my mistake, because, yeah, it's a good way to teach. It's a teachable moment, and like I said, for other people, but especially yourself, those mistakes stick with you. So here, get a freeze, and again, I'm just playing this super safe. I could just rush up there and deal damage from probably a more opportune spot than where I'm sitting. But I just choose, because there, exactly, you don't have the rocks flying in your way. But now he's finishable. My Bleak Watcher ran out. I do a very weird low jump there. And yeah, so now we get a finisher. So now we got the boss coming up. So there's scions that spawn at the start. So what you do is you kind of like run up to the platform and then you run back. But eventually that turns into a joining allies zone, so you can't use that as a safe space for the entire fight, unfortunately, right here where I'm standing. So use that as cover so the boss doesn't beam you. I get a Bleak Watcher down. Obviously, it's not so much for the slowing them to like deal with them, it's to freeze them for the shatter damage for quicker ad clear. So yeah, taking scions multiply, so you need to deal with them on this like final boss phase. Not so much at this part because you have a safe spot, but after this you need to deal with them very quickly, because they will multiply, and like one isn't a threat, but any more than one, they can actually melt you down pretty quickly. I think arc burn or whatever, like take increased arc damages on, I believe. So yeah, dealt with them really easily thanks to the ad clear from this build. So now you pick up the relic and you just keep running, and you do little swings like I just did. That is how you avoid damage from this boss. You just stay moving, and then when there's an opportunity like there, then you throw your relic. So once I throw this next relic, we're gonna have 2 captains spawn in. So what I did on those other 2 runs was I popped my super to deal with the captains, which is fine, but then I didn't have a super for the last set of captains. So I have all my abilities up right now. I get a blinding nade, and then I'm like, screw this, because they TP a lot, and I'm just like, I'm throwing a grenade out here. I almost get booped by the boss, but yeah, I didn't have to throw that grenade because they were disoriented, but I just did that because I know what a threat those guys are. The one run, I should have killed them. It was the exact same scenario. I was using my rocket, but the freaking ads teleport in this game. Like, it's been bad as hell this season. Ads TPing. I literally died 50 minutes into a run because of an ad teleport, which is extremely frustrating. Like, I know captains move weirdly and like Taken in general, but like, anyway, it was a bad clip, and I was just like, come the fuck on, like, fix the game. Like, it's very frustrating dying to stuff like that. So that is why I threw that grenade, even though they were disoriented, because I wanted them in one spot when I shot that damn rocket. I was taking no chances. So now we're gonna get the boss to a quarter health, and then we have another wave of ads that spawn. So here are scions. I don't have a Bleak Watcher now, so I'm going to use my Hell Barrage. So see, the boss floated in front of me there. This is why you don't use your super on that first phase. So there, they got frozen. That was great. I was able to take them all out with one bow. I had my rocket, so don't be afraid to use your heavy to take them out, which is what I was going to do. But then when they were frozen, I was like, oh, my bow can just do the trick. But yeah, that's why I went with bipod there. So again, pretty ugly gameplay, to be honest. I'm a little scrambly here, but we get all the scions down. So now when we break the shield with the relic, which is in the middle now, so again, it's just about staying moving and picking your spots, but stay moving at all times. See, boss missed me. So now I have a super for this next wave of captains. So I don't know if you noticed, but the boss kind of like shifted over to me. So in the first damage phase on this platform, the boss is less aggressive. That's why it was easier to deal with those captains. Like when I froze them and shot them with the rocket, it's easier to deal with them on the first phase, where before I was popping my super to deal with them, but then I don't have a super for the second phase, which cost me. So the one time I died because they TP'd, the other time I died because the boss aggroed right on top of me as I was dealing with the captain. So this time I'm like, nope, perfect, they're spawned together. Here you can see that Shadebinder needs a buff. I know Baladors would take them out in one pop there, but still, it's a weak-ass super. But anyway, easily dispatch those captains. But if you don't, you are in trouble because, like I said, the boss is so much more aggro on this boss phase. Like, you could see it did boop me, but you take kind of like less boop when you're in a super. So now that those captains are down, it's just easy, and the boss goes down. I threw a Bleak Watcher for extra damage. I still had 3 bipod rockets in the end, but that is the key to beating this, is save your super for that second wave of captains. Had I done that 2 runs before, I would have saved myself, what, 50 times 2, like an hour and 40 minutes of my life. Because, yeah, I just did a bit wrong strategy, used my super not at the perfect time, and it cost me. But anyways, that was a solo flawless run of the Corrupted, and I hope you enjoyed. Like and sub for more videos like that, and thanks for watching. Take care.